This is our segment discussing Zack Snyder's Watchmen from Load Bearing Beams episode 21 from January 26, 2018.
All right, so Watchmen.
Do we have 3 hours to talk about this fucking...
Scored to 60s folk music as we present scenes of our own life in animatronic form. Listen. I got to give the context.
Okay, do it.
So this is a movie from 2009.
I'd never heard of it, so...
Directed by Zack Snyder.
Hopefully... other people understand.
Stars Jackie Earle Haley.
Say what else he's directed. I always feel like that helps.
300.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The remake of Dawn of the Dead. Man of Steel.
Did people like Dawn of the Dead remake?
That's like the only movie that everybody seems to agree is good. I've never seen it.
People agree 300
like that
is
movie.
good? Or is it just dude bros? Am I a dude bro?
Yeah.
Fuck. I haven't seen it.
We watched 300. I mean, I watched like half of 300 because you said I have to see this.
I thought you did.
And, that might have been one of our early, load-bearing beams in real life because we're watching it and you're like,
oh, crap, this is
I
bad.
thought I remember this being better.
I did. Because it was unlike it. You know what? It's the exact thing you said about this movie. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it the first time, you're just going with it because you're like, they can do what?
Yeah.
But I can see how a rewatch, I already know you could kick a guy in a hole.
Well,
yeah,
this movie is based on the comic book. Originally was a 12-part comic book series in the mid-'80s, then packaged together as in a single volume. That single volume graphic novel is generally considered the greatest graphic novel of all time. It's been on, Time magazine named it one of the best 100 novels of the 20th century. It is the only comic book I've ever read.
Okay.
From beginning to end, because I saw this movie, I didn't know anything about Watchmen. I'd never read a comic book, but I saw it and I was so enamored with it that I read the comic book.
Okay.
I think I've only seen it one other time since then. It was right when the Blu-ray came out. It was, God, it was even watching it now, it's this is kind of exactly what I want to see. With superheroes, I love the world that they're occupying.
I guess
I'd never had any exposure to alternate history. I'd never read The Man in the High Castle or anything like that.
All right.
So the idea that this is an alternate United States where there are dirigibles in the air and
there were tons of
Richard
good
Nixon
ideas,
is still president.
But there were tons of ideas, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
With one other very large problem.
There's a handful of very large problems, but I just want to explain why.
Yes. Sorry.
Why it was.
Right. What's your history with this? I always forget to ask that.
I've been waiting so long for you to ask. But yeah, I think I felt in 2009 about Watchmen the way everyone else felt about The Dark Knight, which had just come out the year before, and I did not feel about The Dark Knight.
Really?
They're this is where superhero movies are going. This has done things with superheroes that we never even thought possible. Look how mature, look how many ideas.
Did you feel like The Dark Knight cheated and just made something super grimy? Why did you not feel like...
I still kind of, when I watch that movie, I'm there's good stuff in here, and for some reason I just don't connect to it.
Okay.
But as I said, I read the comic book, and
besides Thor, can you name one modern guy that has long hair that you connect with?
Long hair?
Yeah, Adam Driver.
Wait, you're
I'm
not just superheroes. You're asking about all guys?
I think you have an issue with long hair.
I mean, I could have told you that. I definitely.
Oh, okay.
I definitely, yeah. My friend Wade has long hair sometimes.
Well, but there's a certain kind of coiffy, styled long hair.
No, you're totally. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like when you point out how shallow I am.
All right.
God. Who?
This is only a fun game for me, so we don't have to keep going. I just realized in that moment, why didn't he like The Dark Knight? Long hair. All right, just go.
Who has long hair?
Christian Bale has long hair.
No, he doesn't.
You're ruining my theory. Just talk.
As I said, this movie really was like nothing I'd ever seen before. All of the things that I really responded to are lifted directly from the comic book, I think. The Zack Snyder-y things, the slow motion punches
There
and
are
the blood
so
splurts. I don't care for
many
any of that
slow
shit.
motion things. So many.
But
It just starts to feel like motion after a point.
But the world that Watchmen takes place in is so fascinating that just a movie being set in that universe scores a lot of points for me, even watching it now. On the other hand, I watch it now and I realize how many problems there are and how poorly written the movie is.
Yes. It is super hard to follow. And I don't even know what parts are important in the scheme. I don't think there's a clear hierarchy of storylines. Like, they're all A line or B line. They're not.
Well, and they're kind of there's not really even a story,
Right.
Or not a plot. I get the like. There's one of those. Like, there's story but not plot, or there's plot but not story. It's one of those things, because there's a bunch of shit that happens.
True.
I know what happens, but when you watch, because this is a nearly 3-hour long movie. Very, very literally taken from the comic book, which again was published over like a year and a half.
So feel free to make a 2-parter. Jesus Christ.
But I mean, I like that they made a movie.
Good for them.
I mean, it would fit more naturally on TV, I think.
Yeah.
And actually, they're working on an HBO show right now, from the comic book. But I like the idea of making it into a movie. But you need to figure out how to make it work as a movie, which Snyder didn't here.
I just picture a Carrie Matheson style yarn and tack board of we're gonna do all this.
Yeah,
we're gonna connect everything to everything, and then not connect.
So a lot of threads. So who are our characters? So this is again set in an alternate 1985, written in 1985 at the height of Cold War fear of nuclear catastrophe. Richard Nixon is in his 5th term as president. I want to get back to that in a minute, but this is a world where superheroes exist, and our superheroes are, well, they're not usually called superheroes. They're called costume vigilantes or
masked somethings.
Yeah. So we've got Rorschach, whose superpower,
all of it's unclear,
is that he's fucked up.
But sometimes people can jump high. Sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, I told you that none of them actually have superpowers.
But they have. But so then you said that it's an enhanced reality where human ability, as long as you train a lot, is a little bit more than natural human ability.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and that's
James Bond doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah, but he never appears to either. He's just a good fighter.
Though?
You said that what their power really was is that they trained really hard at fighting. That they don't come off like that. Mm-hmm. They certainly are, but they seem to have superhuman strength in the injuries they deliver. Mm-hmm. Everything is a compound fracture.
And I just see that as like a symptom of the filmmaking because of the way Zack Snyder makes everything look.
Okay, but there was a couple of times where there's not a great explanation for the very high jumping without bending the knees, and then the existence of an actual superhero.
Yeah, so that is Dr. Manhattan, who is the blue god.
With his dick out, just a swinging.
And there are areas where you could be surprisingly like conservative and prude. You weren't happy with the penis.
It's just so distracting. I don't understand. I mean, his giant weird like French cut leather thong that he was wearing at first, that was also distracting. They had this amazing muscular physique that they managed to craft and then didn't know how to put pants on him. And I don't...
Because he doesn't care about pants anymore.
That I get. That's consistent with his character. But
detachment from the trappings of humanity.
Right. I guess I just have a hard time buying that it's not a bigger issue for people around him. Like society is so numb to his giant dick that he's still someone children look up to.
He puts on clothes when he's in public. His power, I mean, he's can like manipulate matter, and he can see the past, the present, and the future. I
don't think there's a power he doesn't have. He's basically a god. I mean, he can create.
They have that great line where they're like, the Superman is real and he's American. And then somebody else says, I didn't actually say that. I said, God is real and he's American. Mm-hmm. Great shit like that is coming from the comic book. So I don't know how much to credit this movie and how much to credit the book. But so he's played by Billy Crudup. We also have Night Owl, I like
no
that you said.
fucking reason.
I like that. So he looks just like Batman, and but it is funny to think. If Batman didn't exist, we saw the costume, we wouldn't necessarily think. We could just as easily think
Say
he's
Catman.
an owl,
No,
or Catman,
there's no
or something
fucking owl.
else.
Owls are round and portly and wise. Like they have symbolism already ingrained. They're not rescuers. Maybe it's a bird of prey, and that's where it's coming from. But I'm not even sure that I don't actually know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
But a boy, is that what you're going to say? A boy in the movie says, some guy dressed as an owl. You would not. No, he was not.
Yeah. He's dressed as a Batman.
He was dressed as a rubber skinny tire with pointy hat. He had great treads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who else do we have? We have the comedian.
It doesn't matter.
A fascist.
It doesn't fucking matter.
I want to get through all these.
These are so loosely. Just what does he wear? This is
Ozymandias is super smart and super rich, and then
super Anglo-Saxon.
He has this great. He does look like how I think this character would look, like his just face and his stupid blonde hair, like and yeah, his vaguely German look makes me think like yeah, you would be like the.
Well, he looks like he's trying to make his own pure. He's he's starting anew.
He feels his only real peer is Alexander the Great.
Right, which is why he wears his little.
We have Silk Spectre, who really made you mad because of her outfit.
I'm sorry, she has a fucking name?
Silk Spectre.
And it's Silk Spectre.
Yeah. Actually, Silk Spectre the second, because her mom is the first Silk Spectre. The look on your face. You're so angry right now.
Because it's not practical. I mean, female superheroes were already done better than this before, and then, light years better than this now. And I know I can't compare anything to Wonder Woman because that wouldn't have even been conceived of, but this it's just all of the men's outfits are really practical and help them do what they're doing. Hers, the long, like ridiculously long hair, bangs in her eyes, and very high stiletto boots, and such a high pelvically situated suit that her vagina sides are sticking out. Why is it so high cut? She could get kicked and a foot could go in her. That's how unprotected she is.
My only explanation is that it was trying to
be sexy
and to parody, to comment on how how women superheroes are depicted in other comic books of the time.
Okay, well,
how over-sexualized they were.
Oh, they nailed it. Okay, fuck.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I'm fighting.
But the real problem is she's the worst.
Boring.
She's the worst actress.
And
it kind of torpedoes the movie.
Yeah.
Because she's supposed to mean so much to Dr. Manhattan that he comes back to the Earth, and
he left it because
several
of her.
different plot lines converge on how remarkable she is, but she sucks.
Yeah,
she's a terrible.
She's fucking toast. She's a piece of toast. And
she sounds like toast.
And because she's in
Malene Ackerman.
She's in a lot of she never changes her voice ever, and she's in a lot of rom-coms. So I know her from 27 Dresses, and I know her from The Heartbreak Kid, and I swear I just kept waiting for her to say the word bonehead because she said it in both of those fucking movies. It's how she just rips.
It's her thing. I'm the bonehead person.
I'm acting like such a bonehead. Yeah, she beautiful naked, though.
Okay.
So there's that.
There you go.
But very nice to look at because they have a ton of up close facial shots. Thanks for making that nice. But the sex scene. All right, I feel like I'm veering. There's gratuitous everything in this movie.
Yeah.
For no reason.
I just feel like that's Zack Snyder's style.
Yeah,
it's just
you know what?
More everything.
He does not self-edit, and it's overwhelming. And if you're gonna give me everything, I no longer know what's important or what to look at, and I'm bored.
It's a problem, and there are so many things though that I think work about the movie. I mean, what did you like? Because it seemed like the first even half of it you were pretty into it.
I just feel like none of the relationships earn anything.
No, but what work? Did anything work for you?
No. Just the interesting things I've never seen before, I guess. The idea of a president having 5 terms, an alternate, reality. The thing you pointed out about the ending, I don't know if you want to talk about that now, but...
Well, what...
It did some things I've never seen before, but not anything, and I don't care about this movie. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but I don't feel any of the characters care about each other, and that's a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how boring can the owl guy be? I don't even know his real name.
Look, I totally agree with you, and especially when...
No, the actor, he just didn't do a great job with that.
Oh, he's a good actor, and he's not very good.
He's a good actor.
Patrick Wilson.
There was no chemistry between him and Spectre.
I mean, that might be her fault because he has no one to play off of.
But
I think when he's with Rorschach, he's better.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll get to Rorschach in a second, but the again, Dr. Manhattan, who's this like godlike figure was a human and is just sort of like withdrawing more and more from humanity.
I was confused the whole time. Am I supposed to like him?
What do you? I don't know how to answer your question.
Well, I mean, like, did you like him in the book? Like, is he a likable guy? He's really hard to relate to, so maybe you're just supposed to be indifferent. I guess.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, what do you mean?
I don't fucking know. I just didn't care about him.
Do I want him to be my buddy, or do I find him interesting?
No. Every time he's on the screen, I was like, next. Could give a shit.
This time watching the movie, I thought he was very boring.
The only interesting thing about him was his dick.
And his voice. The actor does nail like a detached way a detached God would sound. Like, yes. Right. But he withdraws from the human race and then comes back to it because of how much he supposedly cares about
what's her nose? Right.
Yeah, but don't buy that at all.
No, doesn't earn that.
Okay, Rorschach. What did you think of him? When I think about Watchmen, I'm mainly thinking about him, and I feel like I think about him all the time. Just so, it's because he's like, he can either be someone you watch and sort of like admire for his integrity, even if you don't agree with his code of ethics. At least it's like good. He's like, never compromise. Everything is bullshit, but I'm gonna do what I can to clean it up. But I'm not all the fucking attorneys and the liberal politicians who want to have leniency on criminals. I don't buy into that shit. Or you can think of him, which I did this time, as like a junior high kid who like read some Nietzsche quotes
narrow
and is like, nothing matters, man.
Right.
And
narrow view of
either
the world.
Way, it works. But like, that's how I saw him this time, and
sure,
I kind of loved it.
Well, I mean, I accepted in the beginning that he was supposed to be kind of ridiculous in the way that he talks, especially.
He talks like Joe Bluth from Arrested Development.
Right. But
we made Banner, Michael. He doesn't use articles.
He's just so self-important, yeah. And the whole time he's reading loud because he's writing in his fucking journal, and it's just like.
But
I did start to enjoy him
because you get the sense that he's self-consciously trying to sound like a noir detective.
Oh,
you don't think so? Like
no.
like the streets and all the whores.
No, I don't. I don't think he's self-aware enough to think that he's putting on that. I think his voice is part of his face is his mask, so his actual face is not his actual face. Okay, so when you're in a mask, you're supposed to also change your voice, otherwise your identity is not protected. So he's affected this really crazy voice that he never stopped using, and I think it's just a part of him protecting himself from people knowing who he is. So, like, I don't think he's aware. It's a defense mechanism to talk like that. It's a barrier. Sure. I'm saying... I don't think he's trying to sound like anything. I think he's just trying to do what he thinks he can do to make people not know.
All right, well, maybe I shouldn't have said self-consciously, but I think that he saw detective movies as a kid, and somewhere in the back of his mind, he's like, that's what I want to be. I want to sound like that.
Because those people sound detached, but good at their job. They sound
like what I want to be. This world is fucked up, and they're the only people who get it.
But detectives, they get paid. But those are private eye people you're talking about, and they get paid by dames.
Private eyes are detectives.
Yet they're private eyes. You pay them hourly. They don't do it for justice.
What's your point?
Because a detective on a police force does it for a salary. It's more honorable. A private eye is a skeezy
You're
guy.
annoyed that I said detective instead of private eye? Sam Spade.
No,
is a
I'm saying
detective.
that the noir thing that you're talking about is specifically a private eye. It's a different kind of fucking person.
Okay.
It's not an honorable person.
I didn't say anything about honor.
You said he was trying to affect this certain kind of air about him, and he was copying off of someone he thought was a respectable do-gooder. I thought that's what you meant.
This is what he considers good.
He doesn't think private eyes are good.
That's the only way to be.
He doesn't think that's good. That would mean he thinks capitalism is good, and he doesn't.
He doesn't?
He doesn't not. I don't know. Move on.
Okay. Anyway, I think he's the best part of the movie. I like Jackie Earle Haley's performance. So, and again, I really like this. I really like the aesthetics. I like the Zeppelins floating in the sky. I love the giant war room with all the generals. But I gotta say, it's really interesting to see. So, in 1985, it would have been stunning to think of Richard Nixon as like the eternal president. Mm-hmm. He's president forever. He's in his 5th term. It's not that outrageous because FDR had 4 terms. And, you know, they throw in the thing, term limits are abolished, so Richard Nixon keeps becoming president. But in this universe...
Because he had won Vietnam.
He wins Vietnam. He doesn't even just get out of Vietnam in 1971. He wins the Vietnam War. It's totally plausible that if he had done that, he would have been president for life. Because he was really popular. Mm-hmm. And if Watergate had not happened, or if nobody had discovered Watergate, he'd probably be considered one of the greatest presidents ever.
That's interesting to think about just by itself.
Like in the past decade or so, there's been this historical reevaluation and revival of Lyndon Johnson's reputation. Uh-huh. Now he used to be considered one of the worst presidents, and now he's considered one of the best because of like his talents at working the political machine, at getting things done. And Nixon was kind of the same way. So I feel like there's going to be a Nixon.
Effective. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. That makes sense.
But I feel like there's going to be a Nixon revival anyway.
Yeah.
But it's in our Trump world to see Nixon as like the example of just a horrifying president for life. There's like, he doesn't even behave that badly in the movie.
No,
he's kind of a voice of reason.
Right.
It's just funny that would have been the example of something utterly horrifying.
See, that really missed me. I didn't know that was supposed to be horrifying.
In 85, it's like, what could be worse than Richard Nixon?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, this is my problem. There was so much to focus on that I didn't know which thread to follow and which to like really invest in. And I mean, a ton. I forgot in between every single time someone would say, they're trying to kill all the masked people. They are? I forgot. Yeah. That's the point of this movie? Okay.
And there's so many...
And then they randomly bring up, and that's why you set up Dr. Manhattan and made him think he gave people cancer. He did? That's another thing that I fucking... What? And your father is really the comedian. And then she falls apart like that. Like, what do you fucking care? Why do I care? I don't care. I don't think I care. Why does anyone care about anything?
Usually you get mad at me when I don't follow all the threads in movies. But this is generally how I follow movies. And then,
I imploded.
You're 100% right. No, it's all way, way too much. They needed to chop off the comedian shouldn't be in the movie.
No.
I mean, for one thing,
why was he there?
That's the most, hashtag problematic element of the movie.
Oh, definitely.
And you don't know if Zack Snyder thinks this guy's awesome or not.
In the beginning, it opens with that smiley face pin falling from the window because he just got pushed out, and you're just thinking, oh, the smiley face pin, this is going to mean so much. This is going to be the key to everything. And it falls in the street, and it gets covered in blood, and then the next scene is someone finds it, and then like, look, this is our clue that the comedian was... How about finding out on the news that the comedian was fucking killed? You need to find the pin? That's the link?
No,
that's
the comedian, that nobody knew that it was the comedian. They just knew a guy was killed.
Because of his thin little tiny cat mask? That his friends didn't know what he looked like?
Yeah. His friends, what do you mean?
His other masked
No, they knew his identity. I'm saying it wasn't public knowledge that he was the comedian.
I don't think anyone... No one else found the fucking pin. Horseshack found the pin. What I am saying, Horseshack, whatever, is that's the smile. They really tried to make that smiley face mean something.
It's because it's such a striking image. It comes from the comics, and they're like, we gotta have a smiley face. It's a striking image. It's like the most iconic image of the thing.
But they tied it to the worst character.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
The ending, though, has Ozymandias, the smartest man in the world, deciding the U.S. and USSR are about to engage in nuclear war. To stop them, I'm going to destroy New York City and make it look like Dr. Manhattan did it. This will cause Russia and the U.S. to ally with each other to fight Dr. Manhattan.
Right. Give them a...
And it's got the stupid thing where the supervillain explains to the people who are trying to stop him his plan, but it has two twists that I love and I think work really well. Again, they come directly from the comics, so I'm not... Okay. One, he explains this to Rorschach and Night Owl. He's like, here's my plan, ha 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 ha. And they're like, we're going to stop you. He's like, no, I already did it. I did it like 35 minutes ago.
Yes, I like that. That never happens.
Yeah. The other thing is, supervillains often think they're doing things for the greater good.
Right.
He says that, and he's right.
Innocent.
And Dr. Manhattan agrees with him. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Let's go ahead with your plan. And
right. Well, and they already let you know it's fine because he likes Mars a lot. Dr. Manhattan's fine. He'll just go to Mars.
Sure, and he'll build that stupid... That's the worst part of... The worst looking thing in the movie is a stupid, like, triangle thing that he builds in the sky.
It's like, what's the point? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's to show you that he can create worlds.
This is... Look what he can do.
He makes Tinker
cartoon
toys.
Mario coins in the sky.
Okay.
So that's Watchmen. I don't...
Like it?
Know that I'd recommend it, but it's interesting.
No.
And...
No.
It is interesting.
No.
Read the comic book.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
I give it no. I amputate my thumbs.
Life's a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for listening to our podcast. For the love of God, please follow us on Twitter at LoadBearingPod.
Thank you for all the recent likes on Facebook, and thank you for your suggestions and stuff. Interaction makes us feel like we exist. Thank you.
Much better interaction on Facebook than on Twitter.
Don't say.
I prefer Twitter. You can look at our Twitter and see.
No one should look. Oh wait, that's the problem.
Loadbearingbeams.com is the website. We've got some cool shit on there. Yeah,
that's good.
Some nice photos. No, I'm working on putting like a short blog post together for each movie that we do. I've been writing a lot of shit on my website, mattstokes.net, so please check that out. Otherwise, see you later.
Hey, love you. Bye.
3, 4. Love bearing beams, love bearing beams, love bearing beams, love bearing